What's going on, guys? So today we have a top rankings video. This is something that I've wanted to do with all of the new cards coming out. These cards are honestly really nuts and I love every single one of them. And I had to go over the updated best players in MLB The Show 20 Diamond Dynasty. This isn't just my opinions, but I also take considerations from pro players and stuff like that, the lineups that they're using, how I've liked certain cards, their batting averages, their stats. I talk about it all. Before we get into the video and the honorable mentions, if you guys can hit that like button, hit that sub button, I would really appreciate it. Anyways, let's get right into it. Alright, boys, so today we're going to go through the honorable mentions first, and my first honorable mention is a card that I don't have, but it's actually none other than Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, I don't know what it is, I just haven't decided to grind him yet. Sounds like a lot of effort to do it. But this card looks nuts. I mean, huge pop against left side. Really good to just switch hitting stats. I heard he plays above his stats. 84 fielding will do the job at third base. He has secondaries of first and second, which are pretty good. So I like this card a lot. I think that he's really good. A lot better than his finest from like 2018, I believe. And so I really like this card, and so that's why I made our first honorable mention spot. Our second honorable mention is actually a card that I rage sold because he just didn't pitch good for me, and that's going to be Clayton Kershaw. Now, Clayton Kershaw, he wasn't terrible. He just made me very mad. He had a 7.5 ERA and 30 innings. He's good for a lot of people, and that's why I'm putting him on the honorable mentions, because a lot of people love this guy. But for me, he just never really cut it, and I never really thought that he was just the best starting pitcher in the game. He didn't really play that good for me, and so that's why he's in the honorable mentions and not in the top 10, because maybe I just can't pitch with him. Who knows? Sometimes I just have cards that I'm not the greatest with. But Clayton Kershaw definitely makes that list, and so he's our second honorable mention. Our last honorable mention is actually going to be a guy that I just don't have enough info yet. He's done okay for me, but it's going to be Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen, you know, he got shelled today in my little ranked seasons game I had, but I think this card is going to be really good. I think it was just really a bad outing. And I can see this card being really good. I like him better than Rivera because he has really good differentials. I like that his slider is his secondary pitch, and that way he can kind of just chuck it a little bit better. So that's why I like Kenley Jansen. I think he's really good, and he's my last honorable mention. So now we're going to go into the top 10. Now these players are players that I absolutely love. Players, some of them I don't even have, but they're just known around the community to be very good. And so that's why I'm going to go over this. And anyways, let's start with our 10 spot. So our 10 spot today, man, did I want to put this guy a little bit higher, but it was Rogers Hornsby. Rogers Hornsby rakes for me. He's hitting 373 with 43 tanks with a 1200 OPS. I mean, this card is nuts. He's literally about 100K right now. In my opinion, the best second baseman in the game. I know a lot of people will be like maybe Joe Ram or maybe someone like Alomar, but in my opinion, he just hits so good. I love this card. I never got to use this card last year because for some reason I didn't do the collection, which was a huge mistake, but Hornsby is amazing this year, and I think he is nuts. That's why I love him at second base, and he's one of the best players in my opinion. At the number 9 spot today, we're actually going to shortstop, and that's Tatis. 2 runs away from this guy's prestige. Super hyped to prestige him. Dude's hitting 366 for me with 13 tanks with above 1,000 OPS, which is really good. I've thought about moving him up in my order a little bit because he's just been absolutely raking for some reason. For some reason, with guys who just have big pop against right, I hit really good. So I really like Tatis, and I think that he's a really good player, and that's why he's at the 9 spot today. At the number 8 spot today, we have a card that I don't have, and honestly, I don't know if I recommend it because he's so expensive, but he's one of the top 10 cards, and that's going to be Billy Wagner. Now, if you look at Billy Wagner, he's got 106 buy orders because everybody wants him for 1 million stubs. A little bit much, but he's a good pitcher, and that changeup really does make a huge difference. With pretty much max per 9s and home runs per 9, this guy on the stat board is really good. Last year I had this guy because he was an inning reward, and he was really, really good, so I'd like to see Billy Wagner eventually. I think that he's one of the best closers in the game right now, definitely the best left-handed closer, as he's just really solid, and I've faced him a couple times. I've only shelled him once, but the other 3 times he's absolutely destroyed me, so trust me, this card is nuts, especially on Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty. I faced Billy Wagner on Legend difficulty. It might have been one of the hardest things I ever saw. Dude's throwing 102 every single time, and his stuff's just disgusting. So that's why he's at the 8th spot today. At our number 7 spot, I know he's a little bit low, but I'm going to go with Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb is hitting 361 for me, and lately this guy has just been an animal. Dude can bunt cheese. Dude can hit absolute bombs. he's just a havoc on the base paths. He has, how many stolen bases? He has 23 stolen bases for me, and the dude is just honestly nuts. 23 stolen bases and 40 hits. So pretty much every single time I get on, I'm stealing a bag with him. He's nuts. I love Ty Cobb. I think he's one of the best hitters in the game by far, as he just does so good and is so solid for me that I had to put him at the 7th spot. I honestly thought about putting him a little bit higher, but I feel like he's definitely one of the best outfielders in the game. He should be in your guys' top 3 and definitely worth the stubs. At the number 6 spot today, we have, in my opinion, the best starting pitcher in the game, and that's going to be Nate Pearson. Nate Pearson has a 3.09 ERA in 46 innings. This guy is absolutely nuts. He's throwing 102 every single time, and this ERA is against top-level players. I'm facing top 500 players, guys who are absolute animals, and he is still shoving against them, even ESL and stuff like that. This guy is an absolute animal. I love Nate Pearson because he plays above his stats, because they say that he's not accurate. For me, he's been very accurate, definitely a lot more accurate than someone even like Oral, and so I really like this card. I think he's nuts, and that's why I think he's the best, one of the best pitchers in the game. At the number 5 spot today, you guys are going to be really shocked by this one, and I'm going to go with Mike Trout. Yeah, I know, 5 spot, wild. But the dude's only hitting 319 for me. He rakes against righties. He's in a huge slump, and to be honest with you guys, Mike Trout is one of the best outfielders. I think the 2nd best outfielder in the game. But this guy, I feel like he can just do a little bit, I don't know, I like Mickey Mantle better. Ty Cobb honestly plays better than Mike Trout sometimes, which is a little bit concerning. Like I always say, you can have Mike Trout and he makes your team a lot better, but you can make a very good squad without Mike Trout, and so that's why he's at the 5 spot today, as I just feel like he hasn't been cutting it lately. You guys might have put him higher on this list, but he's on the 5 spot for me today. At the number 4 spot today, we actually have Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth has absolutely just destroyed baseballs. He's hitting 340, but the thing about Babe Ruth is he's just so consistent. Like, he's had 373 ABs for me. He's got 30 tanks. OPS over 100 or over 1,000. This guy is just an absolute animal, and so that's why I just really like Babe Ruth. And in my opinion, I think he's a little bit better than Mike Trout. Obviously not fielding wise and in the field, but he's a first baseman, so it really doesn't matter. Dude rakes for me, and I really like Babe Ruth. Some people don't like this card and like people like Lou Gehrig and stuff like that. In my opinion, Babe Ruth is the best first baseman in the game, and I think that he's very good, so that's why he's at the 4 spot today. Now, as we get into our top 3, these are all very meta cards that are amazing. I'm not even going to front. These guys are really, really good. You guys need them for your squad, and if you can't afford some of these guys, I understand, and there's going to be budget beasts that are pretty much almost as good as these guys, but they are just honestly nuts. They are so good, and you guys need them on your team. At the number 3 spot today, we actually have Rich Gossage. I grinded in the event for this guy. He was an absolute sweat fest. Has a 3 ERA in 6 innings for me, which isn't terrible, but the dude's stuff is just so disgusting. In my opinion, he's the best reliever in the game because he's throwing 102. He has really good differentials. His slurve is absolutely disgusting. I love this guy's pitch mix. Pretty much max per 9s, 99 home run per 9, 124 hits per 9, and 125 Ks per 9. It's really good for a pitcher, and that's why I think he's the best reliever in the game, as he's just really locked down, and I know he's going to be the best player. Like, I could sell this card right now for literally like 500,000 stubs, but the thing about him is he's just so good, so he's not leaving my lineup because he's that good in the closer position. This is my go-to guy at the pen, and I love him so far. At the number 2 spot today, we have Mickey Mantle. Now, Mickey Mantle is just so solid for me because he's got a 330 batting average, but this guy has been on my team literally since day 1. He is so consistent, and I love switch hitters, as he just is an absolute animal. 110, 119 power. I mean, this guy's just crushes baseballs. Switch hitter, great defense, great speed. You can still steal with him, and he's just so good all around that I had to put him at the 2 spot because he's just that good, guys. At the number 1 spot today, you guys probably guessed it, but it's a new card that literally nobody has because nobody has the stubs to do it, and nobody who goes 12-0 is going to want to get rid of this card. It is Chipper Jones. In my opinion, off the stat board, he does look a little bit overwhelming, but here's the thing about Chipper Jones every year. Dude has the best swing in the game every single year. People still rake with his like 94 because it's just that good. I know the stats might look a little bit underwhelming, but this is the best third baseman in the game and probably the best hitter in the game because he always just has one of those swings. I don't know how to explain it. This guy's swing is just always so solid and so good that I have to put him at the 1 spot today because from the gameplays that I've seen on this guy and the pro players use him, it looks nuts because he just hits the ball absolute ton. Good from both sides, absolute animal. I love Chipper Jones' swing, and I had to give him the 1 spot. He is a switch hitter, of course, which makes him better. The fielding could be a little bit better, and yes, maybe a little bit more power left. But trust me, this card plays above his stats, and he's one of the best cards in the game, if not the best, in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love it when you take the time every day to watch my videos. This one was honestly a banger as we went through every single one of these cards. And honestly, I feel pretty good about my rankings video. I like these guys a lot. If you guys didn't like them or you think something's different, let me know in the comment section down below. And I'd love to talk about these type of things as I pretty much live and breathe MLB The Show 20. Thank you guys for watching and might be out.